Let's get it. Welcome back, Drop Nation. Who defeated the U.S. Navy in Antarctica? By the last relevant sage. Let go.
Hello and welcome. In my video on NASA Flat Earth Cover-Up Part 1, I briefly touched on Operation High Jump.
The invasion of Antarctica had been defeated within 6 months in February 1947, for reasons never fully explained.
Today I would like to get a little deeper into the aspects of this failed invasion of Antarctica and the defeat of the US Navy which led to the Antarctic Treaty.
И вдруг происходит нечто необъяснимое. Экспедиция, рассчитанная на полгода, уже через 2 месяца спешно сворачивается и покидает берега Антарктиды. Это настоящее бегство.
Начало 1947 года. Очередная экспедиция легендарного американского полярника Ричарда Бёрда подошла к берегам Антарктиды. Очень странная экспедиция. В отличие от первых 3, она полностью финансируется военно-морскими силами США и имеет военное название «Операция High Jump» – «Высокий прыжок».
В подчинении адмирала Бёрда мощная военно-морская группировка, авианосец, 12 надводных кораблей, подводная лодка, более 2 десятков самолетов и вертолетов, около 5000 человек персонала. Согласитесь, странный состав для научной экспедиции.
2 декабря 1946 года, перед выходом эскадры в антарктический поход, адмирал Бёрд на встрече с прессой заметил: «Моя экспедиция имеет военный характер». О подробностях он не сказал ни слова.
В конце января 1947 года началась авиаразведка антарктического континента в районе земли Королевы Мод.
Все идет по плану. За первые недели сделаны десятки тысяч аэрофотоснимков. И вдруг происходит нечто загадочное. Экспедиция, рассчитанная на полгода, уже через 2 месяца спешно сворачивается и покидает берега Антарктиды. Это настоящее бегство.
Потерян эсминец, почти половина палубной авиации, десятки матросов и офицеров. Членам чрезвычайной следственной комиссии Конгресса США.
You see a lot of subtitles, but let's just get right to the skinny. These people took an army fleet to Antarctica in the 40s and got their asses whooped. They got their asses kicked. The same time that they're supposed to be defeating Hitler. They never find his body. Everybody knows Hitler has bases in Antarctica. Everybody knows Hitler has been digging on that flying saucer technology, reverse technology stuff. You see the documentation. They had saucers with the swastika on them, circular flying disc. And they take their asses to Antarctica, knowing that there was an army there, possibly looking for Hitler and them, possibly doing some other ill shit. But they got their asses whooped. And you ain't never heard nothing about Antarctica, nor does anyone mention anything about Antarctica. Kind of like nobody wants to go back to the moon, right? They can't fake it again. Let's go.
Адмирал Бёрд заявил буквально следующее. В случае новой войны Америка может подвергнуться атаке врага, обладающего способностью летать с одного полюса на другой с невероятной скоростью.
что поверг в бегство американскую эскадру.
The number of ships, planes, and men that made up Operation High Jump has never been disputed. So what caused the U.S. Navy to abandon this massive operation so suddenly and leave completely defeated, fully aware that to bring in reinforcement troops would be futile? It seems that they didn't want anybody else to find out what they encountered out there and had to retreat from, so they put the whole place on lockdown. As no further information is forthcoming, we can't even get an answer to little mysteries as to who cut this ice so perfectly, how they did it, or for what purpose.
In the winter of 1982, a 12-man research team at a remote Antarctic United States research station discovered an alien life form that was buried in the snow and ice for over 100,000 years.
All right. Okay. Let's get it. Let's go. We're going to go right into it. Love to everybody, man. Enjoying the drop. You know what I mean? Yeah, I thought this cat would have done better, man. But hey, this is the gladiator arena. This is Rome. They give us, you know what I'm saying? They give us games to distract us, right? And while they're distracted, I want them to come over here and say, what? Who had the drop on who? And then while they're there, I want them to say, oh, Sinites. I want them to come here and see this and then fall into the Sinite drop. Love to Lex Will. I want them to fall into the Styles by Nina Bill Cooper drop. She just completed chapter 2. This sister is on an extreme mission to get the drop dropped. So love to Sister Nina. This is pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. These planes are hovering. Yeah. Okay. And Arthur Scott got some stuff. I'm going to close with some stuff from Arthur Scott. I'm going to close with my brother October Scorpio. You know what I mean? Love to these producers out there making it happen, man. We're trying to get all these producers to start producing in 432. You know what I mean? Make this thing, make a shift happen in this music business and use these vibrations to get our family off these hijacks, get their vibration off the hijack of 440 so that they're clear enough to understand that this illusion is, that there's another way. A lot of them don't think there's another way, so we're trying to let them know, man. We could use the frequency to wake their ass up so that they know that there's another way and that this other way is the way. Going back to your creator is the way. You know what I mean? Let's get in the library. I'm going to kick some of the Annals of the Cakchiquels, the Racino's translations, since I know we're digging.
Welcome, swag frequencies.
Yeah, love to smiles. Since we're digging into the Brenton version. So, we got some of that coming at you. So let's dig in on it. We're going to go right into the Popol. And while we do that, we will also be giving you some of that, just a little treat. It's something else, man. It's sent to us by our brother, Getting to the Root of It All, who's all about getting to the root. That's why I can vibrate with anybody that is truly about getting to the root the root. So now we're getting into these cliches. We're trying to get into the root of it all. Alright, so this is actually, I'm coming out the Racinos. I don't know if you can see it. Alright, this is the Cakchiquels, Annals of the Cakchiquels. If you can see that, I know it's close, but my setup is crazy today. But this is the Racinos version of it, and then we'll get into some more of the PDF of the Brenton version, which I really enjoy. And all these translations always give, homage to the Brenton version, whether it's the Cakchiquels or this treat that I got for you, courtesy of getting to the root. Uno on the beats, all right? So this is page 53 of the Annals of the Cakchiquels. Racino's translation. Adrian Racino's. Okay, I'm gonna go right in. You shall have one principal chief and another younger one. To you the 13 warriors, to you the 13 lords, to you the chiefs of equal rank. So we get 12 tribes, but they had considered it 13, right? Because remember that there was a double portion given to Joseph, right? So you have Ephraim, Menasseh. So, you know what I'm saying? And we also understand about the tribe of Dan and that situation. So, you know what I'm saying? We understand that, where this 13 could be coming from and how they hijacked even the number 13 and turned it into their, own frequency and energy around that number. But we get to the root of it. We take our energy back. We take our power back. So to you, the 13 warriors, to you, the 13 lords, to you, the 13 chiefs of equal rank, I will give your bows and your shields. Soon your countenances shall be gladdened by the things you shall receive as tribute, your bows and your shields. There is war. There is war. There in the east, in the place called Zuvah, Zuyva, Zuvah. There you shall go to prove your bows and your shields. So it was all about proving their bows and shields. It was all about conquering, right? At this time, when we were trying to conquer back our mountains and valleys, the Aztecs are coming back in to conquer back their land from who? The Canaanites, Canaan. Who's that? That is your descendants of the so-called Poseidon in Greek mythology. Canaan, Canaan, fallen angel seed. Egypt, hijack. Let's go. To you, let's get it. Soon your countenances shall be gladdened by the things you shall receive as tribute, your bows and your shields. There is war there in the east, in the place called Zuvah. There you shall go to prove your bows and your shields, that I will give you. Go there, my sons. Thus they spoke to us when we went to Toulon, before the 7 tribes and the warriors came. And when we arrived at Toulon, it was truly terrible. When we arrived in company with the wasp and the bumblebees, through the clouds, the mist, the mud, the darkness, and the rain, when we arrived in Toulon, immediately the divination began. An animal called the guard of the ravine came to sing at the gates of Toulon. When we went forth from Toulon, he said, you will die, you will be vanquished. I am your oracle. Remember, we got some of this in the Brenton version, but come on. The animal said to us, all right, sorry, my pages were stuck together. All right, so these animals said, I am your oracle. And the animal said, do not beg us for mercy. Truly you shall be deserving of pity. Thus the animal spoke to us. So they say. Then another animal called Tucor, Tucur, Tucor, who had perched on the top of a red tree, began to sing, and he spoke to us also, saying, I am your oracle. You are not our oracle as you pretend, we replied to this owl. So this owl was over here kicking that illness. And just like you got the owl as the symbol of the Baphomet, right? The Baphomet owl, these secret societies. Even Drake got the OVO owl. The owl is all over the place, right? But this is the owl that was jamming us up, singing this crazy song. They use these symbols. So we replied to the owl, you are not our oracle, as you pretend. There were also the messengers who came to us, who gave us the idols of stone and of wood. So there were messengers who gave them idols of wood and stone. Okay, where have we heard about this wood and stone situation? People who tried to hijack them. They're messengers. So they're talking about all these hijacks and how they had to remain hijack free from all this BS talk from the owl and these animals trying to jam them up. And then they were trying to get hijacked by these messengers who came to give us the idols of stone and of wood. And our fathers and forefathers said in the old time. Afterwards, another animal sang in the sky, the one called Parakeet. That's the Parakeet. And he also said, I am your evil omen. You shall die. But we said to this animal, be silent. You are no more than the sign of summer. You begin to sing when the summer comes, and after the rain cease, then you sing. Thus we told him. Then we arrived at the shore of the sea. There all the tribes and the warriors were reunited at the shore of the sea. And when they looked upon it, their hearts were heavy. There is no way to cross it. We know of no one who has crossed the sea. The warriors and the 7 tribes said to each other, who has a log on which we can cross, our brother? We trust only in you. They all said, and we spoke to them in this manner, go first carefully. How can we cross in truth, we who are here? So we just kicked Exodus chapter 4, talking about, you know what I'm saying, this Exodus, of course, you know, the staff turned into a snake, all this kind of stuff, and then put it in the water, people crossed over. Now we're talking about these people, same people, as we keep saying, that's word to let us find the truth, that's word to let us will. You know what I'm saying? You are reading about the foundational legend, and we have to comb through and see that they too were trying to remain hijack free. We know that they did not remain hijack free. We know that they said they would remain, but you know, these hijacks are a motherfucker. It's the real thing. Alright? There's no way to cross it. We know of no one who has crossed the sea. The warriors and the 7 tribes said to each other, who has a log on which we can cross, our brother? We trust only in you, they all said. And we spoke to them in this manner, go first carefully. How can we cross in truth, we who are here? Thus we all said. Thus they said, have pity on us, O brother, who have come to gather here on the shore of the sea, unable to see our mountains and our valleys. Again, they're calling here in America. This is the Mayan cliché, so we're not talking about so-called Africa. We're talking about so-called America, because we're talking about the so-called Maya and their cliché. We're reading out of the Annals of the Cakchiquels. You can download it right here in the library. All these books are free to download. You can go to Let Us Find the Truth and get many of the same thing. The Annals of the Cakchiquels. We're going to get into it to get the Britain version. Right now I'm reading out of the Ricinos version, if you can see that. Alright, we're reading out the Ricinos version. This here is the Britain version. Alright, so we're going to get into that. Let's finish it up. Let's finish it up. Let's finish it up. All right, let's go. So, would that we could cross and see without delay the gifts which our mothers, so they're talking about their mountains, their valleys. They said, unable to see our mountains and our valleys. These people are coming home. This is their home by birthright. The Maya, so-called Maya, the so-called Aztec, the so-called Anasazi, the so-called Negro. That's not African at all. This is the old world. This land came up first out of the primordial waters. Egypt began here. Once we understand the indigenous truth, then we can vibrate with the land underneath our feet. Once we know we're not spinning, then we won't be dizzy. We'll be able to see straight and not be drunken when we walked, because we're so dizzy from spinning at 1100 miles per hour at all times. Again, how will you ever have one still moment in your short little life if you never stop spinning? How will you ever be still? They don't want you to be still, because then you see. Have pity on us, O our brother, who have come to gather here on the shores of the sea, unable to see our mountains and our valleys. If we remain here to sleep, we shall be conquered. We, the two eldest sons, the chiefs and heads, the first warriors of the 7 tribes, O our brother, would that we could cross and see without delay the gifts which our mothers and fathers have left us, O my brother. It was about the connection of both energy. That was their power. Thus they talk with each other, those who engendered the Quiche and our grandfathers, Gagavits and Zektakua. We say to you, let us go to work, our brothers. We have come to stay here huddled at the shore of the sea, without being able to look upon our country, we were told we should see. You, our warriors, our 7 tribes, let us plunge into the sea immediately. Thus they said, and at once all of them were filled with joy. So they said, let's go for it, right? Let's plunge into the sea. Why? Because they knew that they were taken care of. They were filled with joy. We have not come, it says, we have not come to stay here huddled at the shore of the sea. All right, so, let's go. Let's get to work, they said. We did not come to stay here huddled at the shore of the sea without being able to look upon our country when we were told we should see. Our country, which we were told we should see, the promised land. What are they talking about? Our country, which we were told we shall see. Our country. So when we say, whose country is this? Whose land is this? Tell them whose land it is. Whose land they are referring to. The Maya, the Quiche, who they are referring to. Our country. We have not come to stay here huddled at the shore of the sea without being able to look upon our country, which we were told we should see. You, our warriors, our 7 tribes. Let us plunge into the sea immediately. Thus they said, and at once all of them were filled with joy. When we arrived at the gates of Toulon, we received a red stick, which was our staff. And because of that, we were given the name of the Cakchiquels, O our sons, Zekagavits and Zektakua. Let us thrust the points of our staff in the sand under the sea, and we shall soon cross the sea on the sand, using the red stick which we went to receive at the gates of Toulon. Thus we passed over the rows of sand when it widened below the sea, and on the surface of the sea. Immediately all were rejoiced when they saw the sands below the sea. Below the sea. Thereupon they held counsel. This is our hope. This on the first land we must be reunited. This is our hope. This, on the first land we must be reunited, they said. Only there can we be organized now that we have arrived from Toulon. Then they plunged forward then and passed over the sand. Those who came at the rear entered the sea as we emerged from the waters on the other bank. All right, so that's page 55 out of the Racino's version of the Annals of the Cakchiquels. What we got right here is the Annals of the Cakchiquels, the Daniel G. Brenton version, which Racino's pays special homage to. This is a previous version, and it's really good, you know what I mean, in terms of what we're looking at and getting out right now. So we left off, I believe, page 80. I can make this bigger, and I will make this bigger for us. Let's see. How's that? Okay, so let's see, where did we leave off? I think we are right here. I always want to make sure, but I mind going back a little bit. All right. So let's take it from, we can take it from the top right here. Let's keep it going. We, the Cakchiquels, we said, truly in the middle of the valley lies our salvation. Salvation in their valleys, their mountains. Remember, this is a different translation of the same cliche, documentation. From the same documents, from the same stuff that they took out of the temples, out of Peru, out of Mexico. Truly in the middle of the valley lies our salvation, entering there into the earth. When people say inner earth, well, yeah, there's levels to the game. There's levels to this plane of existence. It doesn't mean it's a hollow ball. It means it's a plane of existence, and there's vibrations above, vibrations below. And yes, when you talk about going inside, you're only talking about really going into the roots of the trees, right? The caves and the caverns are, in most cases, simply the roots of the sacred trees. They go underground into the root of the sacred tree. Therefore, the name was given Shitaga. Another who said salvation was in the water was called Gukumas. The Takuchi said salvation was in a town on high, so they were called Akikama. All right. So when you hear salvation, it just means that they will be saved from whatever catastrophe. So don't get spooky, right? Don't get all rapture on us, right? We're talking about salvation. What is your salvation when you see tanks rolling in your cities? Whoever saves you from the tanks rolling in your cities. So who's going to try to save you first? FEMA, right? If FEMA's going to say, come with us, we are your salvation. And it's up to you to say, I don't think so. I think you're going to take me somewhere that I can't escape from. I think you're coming to take me into your prisons, right? That's not my salvation. In this case, if a flood is coming or destruction is coming, where's your salvation? You can say it's in Udall. You can say it's in this wilderness. It's that wilderness. We can go into our, Torah. We can say, okay, this is where we should be based on scripture there and scripture here. But your salvation, right, is just wherever you can go to escape chaos in a time of destruction. So one person says, hey, salvation was in the water. And that's somebody saying that you can escape whatever chaos in the water. Are there civilizations that can live in the water somehow? Hey, the person that said, truly in the middle of the valley lies our salvation, entering there into the earth. So they say we have to go inside the earth, into the roots of the trees, the sacred trees, inside of it for salvation, to be saved from this flood or this catastrophe that's coming. Therefore the name was Chitaga. Another who said salvation was in the water was Gugamatz, and Takuchi said salvation was in a town on high, so they had to get high up. What, high up? Probably in a tree. So they were called Akikama. The alcohol said we may be saved in a honeycomb. So again, salvation means where you're going to be saved. Where you're going to be saved, Negro? Are you going to be saved in your cities? Do you have salvation there? Or will it be in your own turf? Will you have to stand strong and stand firm in your own turf, not in the turf that was drawn up by your oppressor? So they are rigging the game and they want you to fight them on their battlefield. What happens when you go to your cities in the so-called wilderness? What happens when you return to your trees? So the alcohol said that we may be saved in a honeycomb. All right. Therefore, they were called the Akalahe. Thus all received their names. Do not believe, however, that many were saved. Do not forget that all these names came from the east. But the evil one scattered us abroad, said Gagavitz and Zach Tekua, framer and the shaper. The evil one scattered us abroad. Right? Thus we spoke when we turned about in our hills and valleys. Thus we spoke when we turned about in our hills and in our valleys. They were coming to get their stuff back. That's why you have the documentation in the history of the Aztecs, not being liked. And the Anasazi, their name is enemies of our ancestors by the hijacks, because they came to get their stuff back in Egypt. If this mostly was Egypt, if it spread out all the way throughout here in South America at one time, and once that was sunk, and once this occurred and these people were crossing oceans and coming back in, they were coming back to destroy all hijacks. And what did they have to do to destroy all hijacks? Thus we spoke when we turned about in our valleys and hills and valleys. We lately took up our bows and shields to destroy what? The hijacks. If anywhere there was war, let us now seek our hills and valleys. No. This is Egypt. If it's Egypt, then they won't be calling it our hills and valleys. Egypt hijacked you. Just like this is called Canaan and Canaan. Canaan, Canada, Canaan, Canada, Canaan. This is the land of Canaan because they didn't leave. So these titles were put on these hijacks that hijacked you. When Poseidon hijacked you, when Thoth hijacked you, when Canaan hijacked you, here, then we were scattered about in many places, Negro. Then we all went forth, each division its own way, each family its own way. Then a return was made to the place, Valval, Excook, or Cook, however you say it. And they passed on to the places called Meme and Takna, and they arrived at the places called Zeketiwa and Zekekuva. Is this play? Then they went to Mehehua and Kutumqua, and there they turned about and came to places called Zikihuyu and Tupacoma. Then it was, they could see their own hills and valleys. or valleys, right? So then it was that they can see their own hills and valleys again. So if they keep claiming it as their own, Negro, and if these people were scattered just like you, Negro, and if they look like you on the walls in Mexico, in Peru, Negro, and if the only people that don't have a land no more are the Negro, and if Negro is a byword and they have been scattered, then whose hills and valleys are these if no one else can claim it but the indigenous Negro? And anybody trespassing on our land is trespassing on our land, and only there as a result of the invasion. Your illusion is falling fast, is crumbling before your eyes. The more you hold on to it, the more you are destroyed with it. The energy is no more. There is a new energy, and that's why most of you are here. The same way I woke up and started tuning into the new information that I can confirm on my own study time and buy the books. And now we have a couple of different libraries and sources virtually that you can go to. Let Us Find the Truth got the drop. You know where to go here. As they returned to Pont Zik and Parakeet, we made a beginning. Oh, you are children, and said, our first fathers and ancestors, Gagavits and Zektukwa, such were the hills and valleys, through which we passed and turned about. Let not the praise due us for these our words cease, nor let it be forgotten that truly to you we gave the places we passed over. Thus spoke of old our fathers and our ancestors. And then it's going to get into these are the places over which they passed to Popol, which they descended into, however you say that, Kopehetzel, among their broken rocks, among the broken rocks, among the great trees, the great trees, the great trees, the great trees. And they descended to Mokulisia, the hidden waters, Malamek, the stacked up wood. All right, so we'll get into this part. Just wanted to get back in it. And man, this might be a 20-part series. I'm going to dig in on this and get to the root of it all, as long as it feels beautiful to dance in this frequency. But while we do that, we're going to keep kicking the drop. We're going to get right back into some survival drop pretty soon. And we'll get back into this advanced bushcraft book to get our wilderness survival game up. But yeah, this is what's happened. So they had to go back into their great trees. Now I'm going to get into some drop right quick from author Scott Jr. on this Nimrod drop. Just a couple minutes of the beginning. Y'all check it out. It's on the site. And we're going to get into these great trees, you know. Just a teaser, as you know. Here is your Devil's Tower, right? Wherever it's located, I believe it's in Colorado, Arizona, one of those areas, I believe, somewhere around the Four Corners. And they call it Devil's Tower. Before they called it something they called it bear, something that they're trying to translate as if bears are just swinging from trees, right? But whatever it is they're saying, you know, it goes back to Babel. And I asked, I said, could this be the tree trunk left of the Tower of Babel, if Babel was nothing but a hijacked sacred tree? And them building it wasn't necessarily stacking stuff all the way up. It was them building into the tree to form a network using a sacred tree. Just like the scripture says, our groves are cut down, our giant Ashereth poles, these things were turned into Ashereth poles. So this Devil's Tower, they say it's a flat mesa mountain. We've learned here in that 10-part series that mountains are trees, and that this is just a tree trunk, and these are individual fibers. Individual fibers. And all this is just a little moss. It's a little brushel. But you consider these the trees. You think you're getting your oxygen from these little guys, when this is the big guy. This is the sacred tree. And as we're kicking right here, among the broken rocks, among the great trees, that they were great trees, like great stature people with more oxygen. You have larger people, larger animals, larger insects, larger everything, larger you. In the Apocalypse of Abraham, Abraham has a vision of Adam and Eve. He says they are of great stature. Great means giant. Giant trees, giant people. In the Apocalypse of Abraham, he even sees Adam and Eve as giants. Have we shrunken because of our trees, our oxygen? Have we shrunken? You know, we're just surfing the waves. When we understand that we used to have sacred trees and they used to extend all the way up. But this one is called the Devil's Tower. Is this Babel? Is this the tree of Babel? Cut down. And you know, let's get right back into the site. Let's get into some Arthur Scott before we go back into the Popol, make a dismount there. And we'll definitely get a little piece of this tree from Uno on the beats, getting to the root. He found this PDF, which is another of, the most revered, documents of the Maya, so-called, the books of Shalan, Balaam, the prophetic and historic records of the Maya of Yucatan. Same translator on this one, Daniel G. Brenton, MD. Alright, is this play? Is this play? So, you see that owl on top, right? So we're going to get into it. We're going to see what's going on with this towards the end of our dismount. We're going to get right back. Kick it with the king, Arthur Scott Jr., who got the drop. You already know. Let's get a couple minutes. He's going to feature some of this Zion Lex drop. And you got to get the babies out. So they had the Exodus Memorial, and he dropped something on Nimrod. And it's very interesting. So let's dig on it. King's to Arthur Scott Jr. I got to back it up because you know I've been watching it already. Keeping up with the family.
You know I mess with y'all, right? I fox with y'all. It is 5 o'clock in the morning. I had to bring the old lady to work. Sat down.
He just brought the old lady to work at 5 o'clock and said, let me drop this drop. That's why we call this drop nation. Whatever you want to title yourself as a nation, just know that you have the information. You have the drop. All you need is one drop, right? We got to reverse the one drop rule and make it a 4-3-2 drop rule. So if 4-3-2 is light, then what happens when you put a little light in a dark room? It scatters the darkness. All you need is a little 4-3-2 to be in 4-3-2. It will scatter the 440 just a little bit. So keep sending your songs. We'll keep tuning it up. Let's get it, Arthur Scott.
In bed, I had a video link sent to my phone or whatever when I was sleeping. And like in the first 3 minutes of this, the dude started going into Neymar. It reminds me of Lex Will.
Mm-hmm.
I can't just sit there and watch it, you know.
So he's going to go into the Neymar, Kings of Lex Will. I'm saying, where would we be without this brother out there fighting the hijacks way before we started fighting the hijacks? And now, you know what I'm saying, we all have, our place, you know what I'm saying? So we got to respect each other's place, design, vibration, and put it all together, man. Get to the root of it all. Arthur Scott, let's go.
You know what I'm saying? It'll just be something I end up talking about later. So I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to put it on this screen. I'm going to be over here in my bed. And if anything important come up that I need to touch on, I will hop up, run to this camera, pause it, and I'll let y'all see.
That's why you got to respect him. He just told you he's tired. He just dropped his lady off to work. It's 5 in the morning. He's about to go to sleep. Look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. But his heart, man, his heart is awake. He said, man, if my heart hears anything while I'm asleep, I'll wake up and get back to this drop. But y'all dig on this while I get these quick zizzies. Nah, love to this king, man. Thank you, man. I mean, hey, while you sleep, we could be getting nothing. But now while you sleep, we getting the drop. Let's go.
Y'all can hear me. So, I'm going to go ahead and type it in right quick. So, but, one second. Alright, so I'm going to have to type this in manually. I thought I could just go to the page. The Exodus Memorial Zion Lex. I should have typed this in before I even turned on the camera. It saved y'all like a good 2 minutes. Zion Lex. Zion Lex is a brother you can find on Maccabees TV. And alright, that's the same video. Alright. He's he likes to call himself an Old Testament Hebrew. That's his business. I'm not really here in judgment of that man. I just want to, when they do Kemet on trial, if any of y'all don't watch Side Netter TV, because I know there's a lot of back and forth, and then these Hebrews with the Christ, these Hebrews ain't with the Christ, Egypt, and then the Moors be all up in there or whatever. I understand how it can be discouraging or distracting from your precise studies. Haya. But you can't help that they be digging into that science or whatever. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like, through them, in a video I saw or whatever, Lex Will or whatever, when he was talking about taking up personal responsibilities. But Maccabees TV, Moreh Yeshaya, who was on Maccabees TV, Zion Lex, their studies and the way that they argue against the Kemetic brothers, I know it's clashing and negative and all that junk or whatever, but in their scholarly debates, you can't help but feel like you need to learn Hebrew.
Real talk. And, you know what I'm saying, you got to get the babies out the bathwater, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm not here to, you know what I'm saying, you know, say or spread no vibration against my brothers and sisters, no matter where we're at on what. I'm here, man, because I realize I'm a prisoner of war. And in that mode, there's only a few options here. And there is no other option other than returning to your power. Hijack free. So we know that there's plenty of hijacks wherever we look. But kings, man, to all these people, man, you know what I'm saying, doing their best to build. You know, we know that our invaders have infiltrated everything. Especially when we wake up and we're like, okay, where do we go? You know, so all we can do is do stuff like we're doing now, man, is try to build something brand new from scratch with a perspective, you know, that is coming directly, you know what I'm saying, through us. And we've done that. And we're doing that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you got to get the babies out the bathwater. Love Zion Lex. Love to Moreh Yeshaya, Maccabees TV. Divine Prospect, who just had an event out here in LA. There's a little mix up in communication. I was on the flyer. I was not aware that the event was going down when it was going down. So somehow I was on the flyer, but I wasn't told when this thing was or the topic of it or anything. So, somehow I wasn't prepared for this particular thing. I would have loved to. I believe the topic was Christian versus Hebrew ideologies. I just would have went in there and told everybody to go home. What's better for black liberation, Christian or Hebrew ideology? All y'all need to go home. All y'all need to get out the cities. We are prisoners of war. And that would have been my only perspective. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sorry I didn't get to speak, even though I was on the flyer as a guest speaker. I know that's confusing. My wife didn't see it until like the night before, and one of my guys, Rob the Great One, saw it like the night before, and was like, "Yo, you gonna be at this thing?" I'm like, "Man, ain't nobody told me about nothing, man. I don't know when, where, or what." So it's all good. I spoke with my brother, and I guess he's gonna have another event, and we'll see what happens, man. But either way, man, we have a lot to do, and you know, this is imperative. This information right here, you know, it's no, you know, this brother has supported our platform. He's done a few interviews on our show, so it's nothing against my brother at all. You know what I'm saying? But you know, we know that we have an imperative situation, and we can't wait for no event to get the drop out. You know what I'm saying? This is the drop right here. Putting it together right here. And he's going back and getting more babies out of that bathwater, out of that soup, out of that, whatever you want to call it, that gumbo. And he's saying, hey, I got some babies for you. So listen up, and we'll get back to that pop-up, make our dismount.
In order to deal with some of this stuff. So I started learning Hebrew. And so I'm linked to their page, long story short. All right, I'm about to turn it around. Y'all enjoy it. About to get into Namar. He talking about the word Namar in Hebrew means Nimrod precisely.
So the brother's bringing out Zion Lex that the Namar in Hebrew, Namar, means Nimrod. And he's going to relate that to the Egyptian, the first Egyptian pharaoh. Let's go.
Look that up later. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. All right.
Let's get it.
That sounds crazy?
Okay. That's where I am in my actual watching of it. So, get y'all right.
And I would like to call on my brother, who's a teacher indeed. You know, I sit back and me and this brother go back.
That's nice.
Hallelujah. We came here to give glory to the creator of heaven and earth. This month, or this service, or this event was themed the Exodus Memorial. So although I have a presentation to make with regard to the Exodus Memorial, the bulk of my information actually comes from a presentation that I didn't have the ability to share and give during Kemet on Trial, which was the last event hosted by us as Israelites. With that being said, Divine Prospect, get that first clip ready.
Oh, he's on fire. He's ready.
I'm a different brother.
Oh, he's ready. Let's go.
I want you to just look at that for a second. The first thing I want to say is this. Marcus Garvey, the man that gave you the red, black, and green flag that represents melanated people all across the face of the earth.
And Africanism.
One of his most famous and esteemed statements that he made is the greatest wisdom of the age is to be found in the scriptures. And he's not talking about the cannibal texts. He's not talking about the sarcophagus. He's not talking about, and I'm going to say it because I like to play with y'all names because it really at the end of the day don't amount to nothing. He's not talking about the Book of the Dead. He's talking about the Holy Scriptures, the Tanakh, the Torah. Some of you know it as the Bible. The first king of Egypt, or the pre-dynastic king of Egypt, let's say that, is Narmer, correct? I happen to...
Okay, the first king of Egypt, or the pre-dynastic king of Egypt, is Narmer. Let's get that one more time. This is what I want to get out right quick before we get to the Popol.
Marcus Garvey, the man that gave you the red, black, and green flag that represents melanated people all across the face of the earth.
And Africanism.
One of his most famous and esteemed statements that he made is the greatest wisdom of the age is to be found in the scriptures. And he's not talking about the cannibal texts. He's not talking about the sarcophagus. He's not talking about, and I'm going to say it because I like to play with y'all names because it really at the end of the day don't amount to nothing. He's not talking about the Book of the Dead. He's talking about the Holy Scriptures, the Tanakh, the Torah. Some of you know it as the Bible. The first king of Egypt, or the pre-dynastic king of Egypt, let's say that, is Narmer, correct? I happen to be a Hebrew linguist. You know what Narmer is in Hebrew? Excuse me? Leopard? No. Narmer is Nimrod. But certain Lex is Lion Lex. He be making stuff up, right? So check this out. You go over to the Narmer Palette. What does the Narmer Palette show you? The Narmer Palette celebrates the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt by an Asiatic conqueror. That sounds crazy? Because when we study and we examine the Narmer Palette, the garment that he has on is not a Kemetic garment. It's Asiatic.
Oh.
The knife that he's holding in his hand is not a Kemetic knife. It's made in Sumerian.
Oh.
Let's have some fun today. Nimrod, the first human being to be defied. Nimrod was the firstborn son of Cush, who himself was the son of the biblical Ham. His kingdom stretched from Babylon to ancient Cush, which is modern-day Ethiopia.
All right. I mean, I want to let him go, but we're on a time situation. But just, hear what he just said. So he's the first son of Ham. Now, let's tie in some Greek mythology, right? If this Ham or this Cham is representative of this Zeus, who has a father, Cronin, right? And Ham is this Zeus. Then we have Nimrod as Ham, the son of Ham. And who's the son of Ham in Greek mythology? Poseidon. Some will make him Ham's brother or something like that, but other, literature definitely shows it as his son. So if Poseidon is his son, who then has children and has 10 sons, and they become the 10 kings, and these 10 kings are your first dynastic rulers. This Atlas in plural form is Atlantis. So this Nimrod here is the son of Ham, representative of the Poseidon, who has sons, and they become the first dynastic rulers of Atlantis, which is Egypt, and it is here in America. It is here in America. So where's the Tower of Babel? Here. We're just surfing the wave. But just think about that. So let's get to the Papal. Love to the King, Arthur Scott Jr. Let's go back into the library. Love to everybody. We're making our dismount. We have about 15 minutes. All right, so let's get the Papal.
Welcome to Swag Frequency.
Man, Smiles is there every time to let you know you in Swag Frequency. All right. And remember, I just added the Popol. Just added the papers, W.B. Du Bois. Just added Jesuit missionaries in North America. Just added The Iron Republic by Richard Jameson Morgan. And our family love to get into the root. Always dropping that PDF on us. He also dropped this on us as well. So let's see if we can kind of tag both in right quick, all right? Popol. Let's go. Sacred Book of the Quiche people. want to say we're on page 83 of this. Let's go. Oh yeah, Seven Macaw. This is what I am. I am the sun, said Seven Macaw. So we, I think, left off right here at the defeat of Seven Macaw. This then is the blowgun shooting of Seven Macaw by the twins. We shall now tell the story of the defeat of each of the prideful ones. This is Seven Macaw and a great nonce tree. Oh, we're talking about another great tree. Do you see it? The twins watched for him beneath the tree. Oh, let's get up. This is the great nonce tree. Now, I want to kind of go down to what they have as 180 here. Let's see what they mean. Let me get this a little bigger for you. Let's see what they mean. The nonce. Birocinema crucifolia, I guess it's the real name of the tree, or a scientific name, is a smooth-skinned yellow tropical fruit about the size of a cherry. So it's sort of a fruit that's about the size of a cherry. So this is Seven Macaw and a great nonce tree. Can you imagine the fruit on these sacred trees? This then is the food of Seven Macaw. Each day he would rise up from the top of the tree to knock down some of the fruit of the nonce tree, and it is there that he was seen by Hunuapu and Exbalanki. The twins watched for him beneath the tree, hidden in its leaves, so they can hide in the tree's leaves because this is a huge tree. Remember Avatar? At length, Seven Macaw perched on the nonce tree to feed and was shot by them. Hunupa directed a pellet straight from his blowgun into his jaw. Seven Macaw cried out, sailing over the top of the tree and landed on the ground. Quickly, Hunupo ran out to grab him, but instead Seven Macaw tore off the arm of Hanuapu. He wrenched it back, bending it back at the shoulder until it was torn free from Hanuapu. Still, it was good when they did. Still, it was good what they did. The first episode will not result in their defeat by Seven Macaw, even though he took away the arm of Hanuapu. So then Seven Macaw went to its home, holding his jaw in his palm. What have you got there? asked Shemalmat, the wife of Seven Macaw. What is it? 2 demons shot me. My jaw was dislocated by them, and now my teeth torment me with pain. This I have brought to hang over the fire. It will dangle over the fire until they come to take it back again. Truly they are demons, said Seven Macaw, as he hung the arm of Hanuapu. Then Hanuapu and Exbalanke planned again. They went to speak to the one grandfather whose hair was now truly white, and also the one grandmother who was now truly humble. They were people who now walked bent over with age. Great white Pakari was the name of the grandfather, and Great White Coati was the name of the grandmother. The boys then spoke to the grandmother and grandfather. We would like you to accompany us to retrieve our arm from Seven Macaw. We will just follow along behind you. You will say to them, suffer these our grandsons that accompany us. Their mother and father are dead. Thus they follow along there behind us. We provide for them by removing worms from teeth, which is our profession. Thus Seven Macaw will see us merely as children, even while we were giving you our instructions, said the twins. Very well, they said. Thus they came to where Seven Macaw was seated on the edge of his throne. So where is this? On the edge of his throne. Are we talking about Thoth? Are we talking about Ra? What are we talking about? Alright, clearly this is when we looked up Seven Macaw and what Seven Macaw looks like. and we type in 7 McCall. What do we see? What images do we receive? Now, this is a very interesting image, right? This bird-like man. What else do we get? This weird-looking thing with this beak and these emeralds, like the emerald tablets of Thoth, Tahuti. Is this representative of Tahuti, who's sitting on some throne that they have to go to? This deity, this demigod? What are we talking about? 7 McCall. Alright, getting to these birds and these beaks. Follow the beak. You'll follow yourself back to Thoth, right? What's up with these birds and beaks? Birds and birds and beaks and birds, right? So, I don't know. Let's keep going. Now, 7 McCall was crying out because of his teeth when he saw the grandfather and grandmother journeying together. He asked them, "From where do you come, our grandfather?" he asked. "We are just making a living, thou Lord," they replied. "How do you make your living? Are not those your children that accompany you?" "They are not, thou Lord. These are our grandsons. But surely we take pity on them and give them a portion. We give them our scraps." "Thou Lord," says the grandmother and grandfather. The Lord was by then nearly finished off because of the pain of his teeth. Therefore it was the great effort that he spoke again. "I beg of you, take pity on me. What medicines would you make? With what medicines would you cure?" Ask what they're calling the Lord. So when we see the Lord, they can mean anything. That's why I say hey ya whenever I'm reading out of whatever translation. I know that they always, just like in the KJV, and they have that H1961 strong concordance, hey ya, existence, hey ya, breath, existence, to establish I am has sent me in Exodus 3, right? I am, hey ya, breath, vibration. This Lord stuff is sorcery. It's taking your energy, just like the sun does, because you don't realize you are the only begotten. When I say only begotten, I'm talking about the signature of energy you are. You are the image, the only image of your Creator. The angels are not the image of your Creator. They are still called sons of God, but they are not the begotten. They are not the image. They are not the signature that Adam and the Adamites are. "I beg of you, take pity on me. What medicines would you make? With what medicines would you cure?" Ask who they're calling the Lord, right? "We would merely remove worms from teeth, cure eye ailments, and set bones, thou Lord," they replied. "Very well, thou Lord. It is a worm that causes the pain. We will merely replace them. Thy teeth will have to come out. It is perhaps not a good thing that my teeth come out, for it is only because of them that I am Lord. My teeth, along with my eyes, are my finery. We shall replace them then with this ground bone." But instead of ground bone, they were white grains of maize that were to be replaced. "Very well, then, take them out. Help me," he said, therefore. So then the teeth of 7 McCall were taken out. As a substitute, they placed mere white grains of maize, mere shiny white grains of maize, and immediately his face fell. No longer did he appear as a lord. So he fell, his countenance fell. At length, all of the brightness, blue-green jewels in his mouth were removed. Then the eyes of 7 McCall were treated. His eyes were plucked, thus completely removing the precious metal from them. He surely felt no pain. He just stared instead. Thus the basis for his pride was completely taken away, according to the plans of Hanuapu and ex-Blanqui. When at length 7 McCall died, Hanuapu retrieved his arm. Then also Shemalmat died, the wife of Seven-Makal. Thus the wealth of Seven-Makal was lost, for the healers took it away, the jewels, the precious stone, and all that which had made him proud here upon the face of earth. What's making you proud here on the face of the earth? Are you in the NFL? Are you in some special group, some special society that makes you proud? What needs to be plucked out of your life? What hijacks do you have? It was truly the enchanted grandmother and enchanted grandfather that did it. Then the boys retrieved their arm and implanted it back into its socket, making it whole again. They had desired the death of Seven-Makal, and they were able to do it, for they saw pride as evil and went to do these things according to the word of Heart of Sky, the word of the Shaper, the Framer and the Shaper. They call her Heart of Earth, as with earth, with wisdom, with earth. The earth was created with creativity, with wisdom. And he, the Heart of Sky, as he beat out the sky, beat out the firmament, Rakwa. I beat it out with my right hand. It is a solid object. Rakwa means to literally beat it out. You like a tent to live in, right? Isaiah 40:22. He that walketh upon the circuit, not the circle, do the etymology. It is a circuit. And it is the firmament, the solid firmament that is stretched out like a tent for you to live in. And that was beat out by that which carries the word. Your father carries the law, which is the word of your house forever. And he is the Heart of Sky as he beat it out. And down here in this little caption in 190, it says the Popol makes it clear that the power and authority of Seven-Makal were based on his wealth rather than his own abilities. When his riches were taken away, he was susceptible to defeat. So he relied on his wisdom and he was defeated. Now let's take it over here and let's do just a quick intro into the books of Chalam-Balam. Again, love to get into the root for getting this to us. The prophetic and historic records of the Mayas of the Yucatan. And let's just see what we can get as an intro here right quick. The books of Chalam-Balam. Civilization in ancient America rose to its highest level among the Mayas of the Yucatan, not to speak of the architectural monuments which still remain to attest this. We have the evidence of the earliest missionaries to the fact that they alone, of all the natives of the New World, possessed a literature written in letters and characters. Where's the writing? Where's the writing, Hebrew? Possessed a literature written in letters and characters, preserved in volumes neatly bound, the paper manufactured from the bark of a tree, and sized with durable white varnish. A few of these books still remain preserved to us by accident in the great European libraries, but most of them were destroyed by the monks. Their contents were found to relate chiefly to the pagan ritual, to traditions of the heathen times, to astrological superstitions and the like. Hence they were considered deleterious and were burned wherever discovered, because they referred to all these things. This annihilation of their sacred books affected the natives most keenly, as we are pointedly informed by Bishop Landa himself, one of the most ruthless of vandals in this respect. But already some of the more intelligent had learned the Spanish alphabet, and the missionaries had added a sufficient number of signs to it to express with tolerable accuracy the phonetics of the Maya tongue, relying on their memories and no doubt aided by some manuscripts secretly preserved. Many natives set to work to write out in this new alphabet the contents of their ancient records, because they knew that you were going to lose the language and they had to translate it into a language you would speak one day. Much was added which had been brought in by the Europeans when they did it, so this was the hijack. But in the intro they're telling you that the Europeans still hijacked, and we still have to get the babies out of the bathwater. But they're did hijack the same way that King James did. So let's go. And much omitted they took out, which had become unintelligible or obsolete since the conquest or invasion Papal Bull 1452 dum Diversas, while of course the different writers varying in skill, knowledge, produce works of various merit. Alright. So, I'll get this last part right here. Nevertheless, each of these books bore the same name in whatever village it was written or by whatever hand it always was, and today still is called the Book of Alkebu-lan. To distinguish them apart, the name of the village where a copy was found or written is added. Probably in the last century, almost every village had one, which was treasured with superstitious venerations. But the opposition of the Padres to this kind of literature, the decay of ancient sympathies, and especially the long war of races, which since 1847 has desolated so much of the peninsula, have destroyed most of them. There remain, however, either portions or descriptions of not less than 16 of these curious records. They are known from the names of the villages respectively as the Book of Alkebu-lan of Nabula, Chamuel, Ka, Mani, Extukatska, I know I'm messing this up, Izil, Tihusco, sounds like Cuzco, huh? Tihusco, Suco, Tixacoco, etc. These are the names of various native towns in the peninsula. And we'll get more of this, and we'll, get through the intro, but that's just an introduction into this particular joint, the books of Alkebu-lan. Alright. And how we doing? Can we make one dismount with my man October Scorpio? As promised. Keep vibing with the library. October Scorpio, my brother. Thank you so much for buying that shirt, man. Let me know how it fits. If you need a bigger size, a smaller size, anybody got the, a size or whatever the case is, let us know whenever we get the next shipment. We'll make sure you got your right size. Keep up with us. Make sure that we get everybody their right size, because sometimes we just sent it assuming a large, or